Now, I gave Senator Kennedy an extra couple questions in the last round on condition to be nice to all of these folks. So with that, Senator Kennedy.
I'm always nice. How many of you worked for Senator Schmidt? All four of you. Is it true that he was suspended 23 times in junior high school in February alone?
They're under oath. Be nice.
Look, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not going to ask you how you rule on cases, and I'm not going to ask you about your political beliefs. I just want to know how you think. Let's start with the counselor on the end. Let's suppose I'm a cop, and I'm on duty, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I see somebody driving down the road. Many other people around. It's on a Saturday night. Can I stop him?
Senator John Kennedy isn't here to play games, and in this fiery judiciary hearing, he puts 4 legal minds on the hot seat with tough, no-fluff questions about constitutional rights, redistricting, and law enforcement overreach. Watch how they handle the heat.
Just because you see him driving around?
Yeah.
There would need to be more of a basis than that.
So the answer is no.
Correct.
Okay. Let's suppose that I recognize him. And on 3 previous occasions, he's been caught for charged with DWI. But he's not driving erratically. I'm the cop again. Can I stop him constitutionally?
Same answer. No.
No?
You would need more than that to be able to conduct an investigation.
Why doesn't that give me reasonable suspicion?
I think merely the fact that he was driving at 3 a.m. and had been pulled over previously for driving under the influence wouldn't be enough. Now, it certainly, if he were swerving or driving improperly in some other way, if he committed a traffic violation or something along those lines, certainly the officer would be well within his rights.
So we can agree our privacy is precious to us, even if we're in a car, right?
I would agree that the Fourth Amendment very thankfully protects us all from unreasonable searches and seizures.
So how come the cops can set up a roadblock and stop everybody when they don't have either reasonable suspicion or probable cause, just to check and see if they have insurance?
So there are limitations on scenarios like that, roadblock cases.
Can they do it first, counsel? I mean,
officers can set up roadblocks if they are applying it based on a neutral and articulable standard, and if that standard relates to something that is specific to automobiles. So they could not stop every car to search.
You're right about the law, but why is not they don't have reasonable suspicion. They're stopping everybody. They certainly don't have probable cause. It's intrusive. I mean, I can spend 10 minutes in line for them to check my insurance. What's the basis for that being constitutional?
I think the way I would frame it is that the courts have decided that scenarios like that, and in scenarios like that, officers would not be acting unreasonably. So they would not be violating somebody's Fourth Amendment rights.
Because the Fourth Amendment
guarantees against
prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures.
Correct.
And how do you determine whether something's unreasonable or not?
Well, I think that would very much depend on the situation, the specific facts and the context.
Don't you balance the costs and benefits?
In a scenario like that, yes.
Okay, cool. Judge, what's the rule now that the Supreme Court follows on reapportionment cases? Congressional redistricting.
Congressional redistricting. My understanding, Senator, is that the Supreme Court has decided that that's a political issue, and under the political issue doctrine that essentially the courts really don't have much of anything to say about political redistricting.
If Missouri's legislature gets together and it redraws districts, and they're, let's say, a majority of Democrats in the legislature, so they say, we're going to redraw these districts to benefit Democrats. And we're not going to be reluctant to say so. They say it in front of God and country. Is that okay?
Well, it's pursuant to the Supreme Court precedent, it's legal.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm not going to get to all of you. Counselor? This counselor. Yes, ma'am. Do you think the meaning of the Constitution is immutable?
So I think that the U.S. Supreme Court has said that
I want to know what you think.
So, yeah, my view in terms of like what it is that, you know, my way of looking at the Constitution is to say, what does the text say, and what did it mean at the time that it was passed? And this is something that the U.S. Supreme Court also says. If that's not clear, I think there are other things you can look to, like history and tradition, to decide what the
You
text
look
means.
to what it meant at the time it was passed?
Correct.
What it meant to whom?
To the people who were passing it.
To the people who wrote it?
So I think there are various different ways of looking at this, and I think the U.S. Supreme Court has said that you look at the meaning that the words would have to the public at the time that the Constitution was ratified.
That's right. I'm done. Thank you. Congratulations.
Senator Kennedy once again proves he's one of the most incisive interrogators in Congress. With a tone that's both disarming and direct, he digs into fundamental constitutional principles, from Fourth Amendment protections during traffic stops to the Supreme Court's position on political redistricting. Notice how he frames real-world hypotheticals: a 3A traffic stop, past DWI charges, or a checkpoint delay to test the legal consistency of each nominee's reasoning. His line of questioning forces the panel to admit where constitutional rights get blurry, particularly in the balance between public safety and personal privacy. Then, he pivots sharply into redistricting and originalism, challenging a nominee on whether the Constitution's meaning is fixed or evolving. Kennedy's goal is clear: to probe how these judicial candidates interpret power, precedent, and the people's rights. This hearing wasn't about tricking anyone, it was about clarity. And Kennedy made sure every answer showed whether these legal minds are guided by principle or politics. If you appreciate sharp questions and real accountability in Washington, don't forget to drop a comment with your take, and subscribe for more no-nonsense breakdowns like this one. Hit the bell, because the next moment that matters drops soon.